But first, on Monday, we brought you the story of the young American behind bars in Nicaragua found guilty of a murder that he says he did not commit. Now, for the first time since his conviction, Eric Volz is speaking out. NBC's Keith Morrison is in Managua with an exclusive jailhouse interview.
Squatting under a blazing Central American sun, a half-hour sweaty drive from Managua, is a maximum security prison called Titipata. And inside, surrounded by some of Nicaragua's most violent men, is a young American in a world of trouble.
I'm the most famous prisoner in the whole country. Everyone here knows who I am.
His name is Eric Volz, 27 years old, and most of the miserable crowd he's housed with is convinced he's a monster.
There's a lot of people here that, see this as the gringo who killed one of our beautiful women.
That beautiful woman was his ex-girlfriend, Doris Jimenez. She was brutally murdered on November 21st in the small coastal town of San Juan del Sur. Volz was convicted and sentenced to 30 years, even though the evidence presented in trial put him in Managua, a 2.5-hour drive away, before, during, and after the crime occurred.
The first question the police asked me when I was interviewed the night of her murder was, Eric, where were you today from 8 o'clock in the morning until the time you received this phone call saying that Doris was dead? And the first answer out of my lips to the police was that I was in my office in Managua. He then asked, do you have witnesses that can, confirm this? Yes, at least 10 people.
One of those people, a journalist and businessman who says he was neither a friend nor a colleague, told us he met and had lunch with Volz within minutes of Doris's death many miles away.
Not only that, but I was doing, instant messaging with a friend of mine, a consultant that I work with. He lives in Atlanta, Georgia.
We started instant messaging each other at 10:21 in the morning, Eastern Standard Time, which is 9:21 in Managua, where Eric was, and it goes all day, basically for about 6 hours till about 3 o'clock my time, in the East Coast. And then, they say that the murder happened between 11:45 and 1 o'clock Managua time.
The instant messages were time-stamped on Nick Purdy's computer, but the judge threw out that evidence, declared that the alibi witnesses were not credible, and relied on the testimony of a local resident named Nelson Lopez Dangla, who had been charged as a co-defendant but was freed in exchange for his testimony that he had seen Volz at the murder scene.
I was outraged. It's to see people's lips lie in your face. It's inhumane. They're trying to send me to a life in prison.
Complicating matters, another local man named Julio Martin Chamorro was arrested near the crime scene and also convicted of the murder. The prosecution never established a connection between the two defendants. And what was the motive? Jealousy, according to Doris's mother.
Mamá, yo tengo miedo.
She said that, he's very jealous, and I think that, I worry that he might want to kill me or something.
Volz denies it, saying that he and Doris were just friends at the time of her murder. Hadn't been a couple for some time. But why focus on you, Eric, if you didn't do it?
Because the police told her I confessed.
The confession claim was just one of a legion of rumors that marched across Nicaraguan headlines, all of them pointing to guilt. And outside the courtroom, huge and angry crowds assembled, determined that the American didn't somehow wriggle away and escape justice.
It's very simple. The judge was scared. If she had not convicted me and then she had acquitted me on that day, there would have been riots, and I guarantee you that she would have been threatened.
Volz has 2 more chances to appeal his sentence. If he doesn't succeed, he'll be here in a Nicaraguan prison until he's 57 years old.
I refuse to believe that, that's a possibility. The injustice speaks for itself, and I'm innocent of the crime, and even the authorities here know that.
Before he was arrested, Volz published a magazine, El Puente, The Bridge, whose mission in part was to improve goodwill between locals and Americans. Isn't too much of that at the moment for Eric Volz. For today, Keith Morrison, NBC News, Managua, Nicaragua.